Good afternoon. I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin. It's Thursday, February the 13th. Time for another edition of my college basketball free picks segment. I have three in store for today. Let's review what happened yesterday real quickly. It's some interesting things to talk about. A 1 and 2 day, certainly not acceptable. But let's go over what happened anyway. On a positive note, we had South Carolina plus 2.5. Easy winner over Georgia. They did win by 16, but they led that game by as many as 25 points, and they were covering wire to wire. The game that really hurt was SMU. We had them minus 4.5 against UConn, and the Mustangs won the game by just four, missing covering by a half a point. And when you look inside the numbers, SMU shot 55% from the field, 53% from beyond the 3 point line, and 88% from the free throw line, going 14 out of 16. Yet they somehow managed not to cover a short 4.5 point spread. I could tell you 95 to 96% of the time, when those numbers come into play on such a short number being asked to cover, we're going to win. But on this specific occasion, we didn't. They just gave up too many second chance opportunities, with UConn getting 14 offensive rebounds. And like I've alluded to on several times over the last couple months, we always remember those tough losses like this one, bad beats, whatever you want to classify them as, but we never remember the ones that we win in this fashion. Those are quickly erased from our memory bank. It's just human nature when it comes to sports gambling. And I can tell you this, the types of games I just alluded to with SMU, those games are going to even out. The bad beats versus the lucky wins. It's what you do with the other games that really counts. And that will determine whether you're a winner or loser over the long haul of sports betting. The other game we lost, West Virginia blew a 9 point second half lead at home against number three Kansas, losing that game 58-49. Kansas scored the final 9 points in that game to pull away a game that was much closer than the final score would indicate. But, West Virginia, this again looks like one of those Mountaineers teams coached by Bob Huggins that's going to be good enough to win one game in the NCAA tournament. And because they have some pitfalls and shortcomings on the offensive end of the floor, they will be very prone and vulnerable to getting upset in the second round. And I'm not just picking on them for this 49-point effort against Kansas, because certainly Kansas is a very good team defensively. However, if you look at some of their past performances over the last couple weeks, you'll see what I'm saying. They're a little bit schizo on the offensive end of the floor, and that could ultimately cost them. That was also West Virginia's first home loss of the season. Let's move on to today, and let's get the winning back in order. Tennessee State at Belmont, 8 p.m. Eastern Time start. The total in this game is 151.5. This is a Tennessee State team that's gone under the total in 5 straight games. In those 5 games, averaged a combined 137.8 points scored per game. Defensively in that 5 game stretch, Tennessee State, has held their opponents to 37.6% shooting and limited them to making just 27.8% of their 3 point shots, which is a good part of Belmont's arsenal. They like to hoist them up from 3 point land, usually pretty good in that regard. However, Belmont 5-0 under the total in their last 5 at home. The average combined score 138 points per game. And defensively at home this year, Belmont has been stout. 60 points per game, 37% shooting for their opponents, and they've held opponents to 26% from beyond the 3 point line. I like this game to go under this fairly sizable total of 151.5. Tennessee State Belmont under 151.5. Then we're going to have a couple of Pac-12 games we're going to take a look at. Both take place in the state of Oregon. Let's start with the Colorado Buffaloes at the Oregon Ducks, a pair of ranked teams. 9 p.m. Eastern Time start. The total in this contest is 135.5. This is a Colorado team that's gone over the total in four of their last five games, and during that time, they've averaged nearly 75 points scored per contest while shooting 47% from the field, nearly 40% from the three-point line, and over 75% from the free throw line. Oregon, on the other hand, they've gone over the total in seven straight home games this year when there's been a total of 132 and a half, like there is tonight, 132 and a half or better, I should say. And the average total in those seven games, 139.7, and there was 150.3 points scored per game, well over that average total and well over what the total is currently at. The first meeting this year at Colorado, the Buffaloes won that game on their home floor 74-65, and that game went over the total of 136. I like this meeting the second time around to go over once again. Colorado, Oregon, over 135 and a half. Finally, the Utah Utes travel to Corvallis, Oregon to take on the Oregon State Beavers. 9 p.m. Eastern Time start. The current total in this game, 133 and a half. Utah has gone under the total in each of their last five games with a mere 120.6 points scored per contest. Utah is also coming off a 60-45 home win over California in a game they covered as an 8.5 point favorite. And the Utes have gone under the total in eight straight games this year when coming off an against the spread win like they'll be doing tonight. Those games had an average total of nearly 140, and there was only 124 points scored per game in those eight contests. Oregon State's gone under the total in their last three at home. In those games, averaged a combined 122 points scored per game. This is also a Utah team that averages just 53 field goal attempts over their last five games and only 14 free throw attempts during the last five games as well. Both of those numbers are well below college basketball standards, and the Oregon State Beavers are averaging even less field goal attempts per game, 50 field goal attempts per game over their last five, while they shot 40% from the field and just 26% from beyond the three-point arc in those last five contests as well. Looks like a slow-paced game here. I like this game to be played in the 60s. Low 60s, high 50s possibly. Utah, Oregon State under 133 and a half. Repeating again, Tennessee State and Belmont under 151 and a half. Colorado and Oregon over 135 and a half. Utah and Oregon State under 133 and a half. Those are your three college basketball free picks for Thursday, February 13th. Be sure to visit my personal website. That's rbwins.com. rbwins.com. It's there you'll find the best of what I have to offer on a daily basis. Daily packages are available. Also, you can get some good subscription rates on 30-day packages, 90-day packages, and annual packages as well. That's rbwins.com, where you pay a little to make a lot. Until the next time, good luck with all your picks.